A warm welcome and thank you for joining us on the program Inside the Real Estate on Housing TV Africa. The last episode actually for the year 2024, compliment of the season to you all our viewers and happy holidays. I hope you all are having an amazing day and having a good rest with your family. Today on the program, we have a very interesting topic to discuss as the year runs out. We'll be reviewing the housing sector for the year 2024 and also setting agenda and expectations for the year 2025. I won't be doing this alone. I am privileged to have the executive director of a pioneer advocacy group that has been in the business for 25 years in person of Barrister Festus Adebayo. He's the executive director of Housing Development Advocacy Network HDAN and also the convener of the African International Housing Show. As an expert today, we'll be getting his view on how the housing sector has performed in the year 2024, and also would love to hear from him. He should also set the agenda for 2025 and what are his expectations for the housing sector. Before we introduce, or rather before we bring in our guest, let's go on a quick break. We'll be back shortly.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts on Facebook, Housing TV Africa, on Twitter, Housing TV Africa, Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
Welcome back. Barrister Festus is with me here in the studio. Compliment of the season.
Well, my pleasure.
It's such a pleasure to have you today on the program.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. So the year 2024 has been a remarkable year. It came with its own challenges. It came with its own issues, particularly for the housing sector. We had, months where what we constantly kept talking about was the increase of building materials, building collapsing, and a whole lot. So as an expert, let's hear from you, your review for the housing sector in the year 2024 as we wrap up the year.
Thank you, Memona. I'm pleased to be here to look into what happened in 2024, housing industry, housing sector or real estate sector. We started the year on a very good note with a high expectation. I can report here that from what we got from the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics report for the first quarter 2024, the real estate sector contributed 11.5 trillion naira to the GDP of Nigeria. So we started on a very good, hard working by great stakeholders in the housing industry from different areas of the sector, the building materials, the real estate, the manufacturing sector, in the sector. And I must say that going toward the second quarter, the economy became a big problem for the industry. As I'm always telling people, you cannot separate housing from the economy of the country.
Of course.
Once the economy of the country is not good, we should be expecting that economy will have effects on the housing sector. The economy of 2024 is characterized of high inflation. It's characterized of poor exchange rates. Nigerian naira lost its value. Everywhere we travel to, what we see is not encouraging. Even in African countries, changing Nigerian naira to Ghana, cedis, changing it to rand for South Africa, it was not a good one, I must say. Therefore, that created a serious effect on the sector. Apart from the exchange rate, we also have the challenge of the interest rate. As I said, the inflation was high. People are spending so much on transportation, so much on other things, which affected the production of those goods. And as a result, the price have to come up. The interest rates move totally to the 2 digits. 2 digits, as we all know, is not good for the delivery of affordable housing. 2 digits, even for delivering luxury homes, is not also easy. Yeah. It also always have effects on the commercial market. Take, for instance, the MCR from the Central Bank of Nigeria. As of today, is 27.5. Yeah. So how will you go and borrow money and then use it without selling it in line with how much you have spent on it? That affected the housing industry. So I can report to you here that in 2024, due to the high interest rates, lending rates in the banks, the cost of those houses became highly affordable for those people that really, really need the houses. We have increase in number of estate developers that abandon their projects. Don't forget, cement had jumped up seriously to a level of 9,500. At a time, 8,000. At a time, I remember the Minister for Housing had to engage the manufacturers of building materials. But they have to sell on the basis of the expenses they are being incurred. So these are issues. And then looking at somebody who has borrowed money at a high interest rate, he cannot build luxury home. He cannot build affordable housing. He has to build luxury. And people want to buy the houses. When they don't have the affordability for the houses, they resorted to renting. And that affected the rental market in 2024. So the landlord, here and there, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja's residents are the major victims. And as I'm telling you, the renter is still high. Yeah. Those who will have gone to buy have resorted in going back to rent because they cannot afford to buy because of the increase in prices. So the only succor that's supposed to have come in 2024 should have come from Federal Mortgage Bank. And that is the Federal Mortgage Bank versus mortgage banks. Okay. We cannot report to you here now that this is how many mortgages that were created in Nigeria in 2021. But I can report to you here that due to mortgage, the single obligor problem in the Federal Mortgage Bank, a good number of mortgage banks will not have access to that funding in the Federal Mortgage Bank that is always at 6-7%. Federal Mortgage Bank is the only one that can offer single digit interest rate. And I can report to you, because of this problem, that a good number of mortgage banks did not do well in 2024. I've reported to you that the prices of iron rod, building materials generally, were up. And I must also report the corruption in the area of the building materials. We have good reports of people buy iron rod, and the size they call for them, when they put the gauge in it, is different from what they bought. So these are the challenges that characterize the 2024 that housing industry have to arrest as we move into 2025. But I must say that the stakeholders in the housing industry must be commended. I must use this opportunity to thank all of them. Nigerians are very hard despite the fact that these things are here and there affecting their development, I can still report to you that activities of real estate developers in Lagos is very commendable. Activities of real estate developer in Abuja, very commendable. And in fact, some state government also made efforts, such as Sokoto, Kashina, Nasarawa, River State, and Borno, Yobe. And I think some activity is also taking place in Ogun. Lagos is also working. So I can't, and Edo also did well. So I can tell you these are the states that did a lot of impact in the area of housing in 2024. I must commend all the stakeholders. I must say a very big thank you to them, and they must be ready. I cannot end this review of 2024 performance of the housing industry without also look at what the Ministry of Housing did. I can report to you that the Renew Hope is working in at least nothing less than 34 states. And then we open that from January they should commence having commissioning. So we can report that a good number of houses are springing up from the Renew Hope agenda. And I can also tell you here that in 2024, the committee that was set up by the Honorable Minister for Housing, they also within the year submitted their report. So this is one of the achievements we can talk about in the year 2024. I can also use this opportunity to also mention that for the first time, we see a government picking interest in the area of housing data. So the national housing data has come to stay. So we are now having national housing data in the country. This national housing data was an idea that African International Housing Show got involved in 2 years ago with the support of Nigeria Mortgage Refinance, NMRC. Then we brought all the people that are supposed to be involved, the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, the Central Bank of Nigeria. I must use this morning to thank Reverend Goshuku Shime, Dr. Mba, Director General, Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, the Director General, Nigeria Population Commission. I must also thank the management of Federal Mortgage Bank. All of them contributed. The NMRC is still in charge, ensuring that they are coordinated. So that's a very big achievement for us. We hope that as from 2025, we should be having data, a source, where we can pick this is the number of mortgage created in a year, where we can pick this is the number of houses built in a year, built by private developers, built by the government at federal level, built by the state government. So we have started. You got to say, so these are good achievements. And the land reforms was given serious attention in 2024. We found out that the World Bank is working seriously with the federal government of Nigeria. We are also aware that even the World Bank invited them for collaboration, and I'm aware that this collaboration is still on. These are good side of 2024. I can also not finish the appraisal or the review of what happened in 2024 without acknowledging the new idea called MOFI, Real Estate Development Fund. That's a beautiful one. It has come, and I'm also aware that the people who are in charge of the management have done a lot of consultation. And I think also they have consulted with us in HDAN, and apart from that, I've also met them at the National Assembly. And from all indications, this is a very good achievement for 2024. And let me also say this, that Nigeria Mortgage Refinance also in 2024 got $200 million affordable housing fund from a development corporation in US. This is also a good achievement for us in 2024. And surely, if all those new ideas are well utilized, we can be expecting a better 2025 in the area of funding, especially for the sector. In 2024, the UK delegation that came for Africa International Housing Show did not enter Nigeria without visiting the power that be. They visited the honorable ministers, they visited other leaders in the country, and eventually they gave us a dinner at the UK ambassador's residence, attended by all the leading stakeholders, including the honorable minister. I think these are very good signs of 2024, and that's what I was saying, that we need to commend the stakeholders. We need to commend all the people that have been involved in ensuring that despite the economic barriers, despite the high interest rates, despite the high cost in the building materials, despite the inflation, and the sector was able to end on this note.
Okay, that was a very good review there by Barrister Festus Adebayo, the Executive Director of H-Town. Let's go on a short break, and then when we come back, we'll be hearing his expectations and set agenda for the year 2025. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Inside the Real Estate and Housing TV Africa. I like the fact that you're ending your 2024 review for the housing sector by, listing out major achievements that both the Federal Ministry of Housing have been able to achieve in the year 2024, and also the contributions and the collaborations between stakeholders and the federal government in making sure that these challenges that were faced in 2024 we could see that some solutions could come out. Because I remembered during the AIHS, we had a lot of, sessions that, looked at critical issues facing the Nigerian housing sector. And we must say for that 1 week, those particular sessions brought together key stakeholders to share ideas, to share solutions on how to tackle these issues. So with all of this, we can say that 2024, even though with those challenges we face, it ended well. Now let's move to 2025, which is our expectation. Of course, everybody is looking out for 2025, hoping that 2025 will be a better year. Now let's look at the housing sector in 2025. As an expert, we want to hear you set your own agenda before we look at expectations from other stakeholders as well. So let's look at your agenda.
In 2025, I want it to be a year of regulation. We cannot continue putting fire on the roof of our house and then be sleeping there. We have to address the issue of the building collapse, unethical practices of some real estate practitioners. These have to be given attention in 2025. The Ministry of Housing must be interested. In 2025, we need the Federal Ministry of Housing to champion policies, laws that will create enabling environments for practitioners in the sector, developers in the sector. And we not only create enabling environment, but we also attract investors left and right. We are expecting in 2025 that this issue of new tax reform, we also look into how to give some support, relief in the era of multiple taxation that have not made developers to be able to deliver on affordable housing targets. This is one of the challenges. Access to land is a big challenge, and I'm expecting the Ministry of Housing to finalize their collaboration with the World Bank on this. We expect them to come up with a clear decision of what they want to do to alleviate the suffering of investors in the area of land. Let me tell you, land is critical, not only to real estate development, even for all the business investors. Everybody needs the land to build shop, to build this. So any part of Nigeria, issue of land must be addressed. And finance.
Okay.
In 2024, I mentioned that the issue of finance was a great problem. We cannot continue with this high lending interest rate. There must be intervention. Government must show interest politically to assist. I have seen the budgetary allocation for Federal Ministry of Housing, and we have issued statements on needs that government should show more political interest. It is not bad if government says, I want to spend 0.02 of my annual budget on affordable housing or social housing. I'm not sure anything like family home fund is in this year's budget. And that is the organization that is responsible for social housing. So for 2025, we expect government to do something in all this area. Federal Mortgage Bank in 2025, the issue of single obligor problem must be arrested. We don't want to hear the same story again. The CBN must show interest in our housing sector. Must show interest in the housing sector. Just as I said that you cannot separate the economy from the housing sector. The Central Bank of Nigeria must show, I repeat, show interest in the mortgage and real estate sector to make it easy for the demand and the supply side. In 2025, we're expecting Federal Mortgage Bank to do more in the area of cooperative housing. We expect Federal Mortgage Bank to do more in the area of rental. What I'm saying, I must also say, Federal Mortgage Bank must also open door, a window now, for the youth. For the youth. For the youth, some of those youths that are carrying laptop around the street can afford one bedroom. Already the government is giving them student loan.
Yeah.
So we should also have something that will attract our youth from running outside the country. And then let me go back again to the Federal Ministry of Housing. Federal Ministry of Housing must not only be building for sale. If there's any reason why Federal Mortgage Bank why Federal Ministry of Housing is still involved in housing, you must see the difference between what they are producing and what the private sector is producing. Their own will be less in price. And on that note, I want to suggest to the Federal Ministry of Housing that they should have areas where they are building houses for people to buy. They must also have some estates where all that they are doing there is to rent. Houses for rent to home. Federal Ministry of Housing. In fact, I also want to see houses for the youth. Federal Mortgage Bank can only finance, but the government can, the Federal Ministry of Housing can also. But above all, Federal Ministry of Housing must do more in the area of regulation, but do more in the area of creating an enabling environment. Federal Ministry of Housing must do more in working with committees in the House of Representatives that have to do with housing and habitat, and the one that have to do in the House of Representatives have to do with urban development. So also in the Senate.
So that means you're calling for full force, major, massive contribution and collaboration.
Yes, we need high level of collaboration in 2025. The minister must see what can be done to get some intervention for the real estate investors. We cannot continue the way it is that people will go and buy, get 27%, 30% to build houses. It means that no one will take care of the interests of the Nigerian workers. We are calling also the Federal Government Staff Housing Loan Board to see what they can do in working with the new agenda. That is MOFI. And that one of the very good news that we also recorded in 2024. Yeah. We have studied what they want to do, and we have commended them, and we are calling other agencies of government, like Federal Government Staff Housing Loan Board, Head of Service, FISH, all of them, Federal Mortgage Bank, Family Home Fund, must all work in collaboration with the new idea of MOFI. MOFI will get money from the stock market, the capital market, which is one of the ideas we have been asking for. But we also want in the year 2025, MOFI should not only concern itself only with the people at the top and the other people in the middle. It must also see what they can do to help the people below. I'm so bothered about the people below. Of course. The people below is so important for me. It's so you know what happened in Abuja, the house demolition here and there. Majority of the victims are these people we are talking about. Government must come with one way or the other to house its people. Come, go to UK. The government came in within 24 hours of coming in. The government had not the number of housing units it's going to produce. Go to US and see the budget the government is making on affordable housing. Affordable housing is key. And after, again, the issue of green funding, green housing, climate change, we cannot rule it out. We must key to what is happening in the world. Our PropTech sector will be supported. This is where you find a lot of youth now, and therefore, the Federal Ministry of Housing will do everything to support the PropTech industry.
Thank you so much, Barrister Festus, for setting your own agenda for the year 2025 in the housing sector. Having you today on the program is such a privilege. And before we let you go, I just want to slide in just two questions from you. As the Executive Director of the Housing Advocacy Network, HDAN, you have your advocacy has contributed immensely well in the housing sector, and you have been in this business for 25 years. Now we're ushering into a new year, 2025. What should we be expecting from HDAN?
For Housing Development Advocacy Network in 2025, we are coming up with some committees in our agency. We are coming up with some committees, group within our advocacy group, called a subgroup, the one that we have to do with research and intelligence. So whenever we go to any area, we need to mention, we need to advocate for 10 houses. As we are talking of 10 houses, we have people who are coming out with a figure of what the cost of those 10 houses will be. And even tell us this is where the 10 houses should be. They give us facts and figure that will guide us, assist us, support us in our advocacy. Apart from that, we're also creating another subgroup that has to do with lobbying. The main responsibility of this group is to see how we can follow up that challenge that the House of Representatives have given to us, that they are ready, that it is stakeholders that have not been coming to meet them, that they are ready to receive our bills on how the sector can move forward. I can tell you for HDAN, we're going to collaborate with all the professional bodies in the housing and construction industry, one by one, including Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria. We need rather in the area of regulating, ensuring that there's professionalism in the system. We don't want people who does not have an office to be the one saying, to be the one distributing flyers, running adverts everywhere. We're also in 2025, we're going to engage APCON, Advertising Personnel Council of Nigeria, because we have received so many reports of people saying they saw an advert on television, they saw an advert in billboard, and that was why they gave money, and at the end of the day, they could not get the developer. So these are the areas we are going to work with. And then we're going to work with universities that are open for collaborations with us. We are aware of FUTMENA, we are aware of University of Lagos. They are very, University of Lagos is, other Professor Dubi is on every time ready. So we're going to see how we're going to work with them to see. Also going to look at the University of Nigeria, see how Enugu State University, that is ESUT, to see how we can work together in the area of capacity building. Capacity building, we're going to give it a serious attention in 2025. I want to let you know that we are committed. We will not compromise.
Good.
What that we stand for in Michigan is transparency. What we are asking for is accountability. We don't have any grudge, any problem with anybody. What that we are saying is tell us. And we are going to do it in a more proactive, in a more organized way. I must also tell you before I finish that one of the expectations we are having in 2025 is the 200 million USD affordable housing deal that NMRC got from a development corporation in the US. This is one of the area we are targeting that will also affect the float of money in the sector in 2025. As I say, the sector need money to flow because the real estate sector is capital intensive. While saying that, you also need professionalism. A good number of diaspora people have written to us complaining. And in fact, in 2025, we are planning to go on a roadshow.
Good.
It's in the US, in the UK, in Canada, and some other few countries, so as to showcase the real estate developer that we know that are credible. Enough of the criminal ones going abroad to dupe and then create bad reputation for the country. We're going to see how we can work with the diaspora organization. So this is what we plan for 2025, and we are seeking the support, the collaboration of stakeholders in the housing industry to work with us. We are committed. This is the career we have chosen for ourselves. They should please do everything to support us.
Good agenda there by the Housing Development Advocacy Network HDAN. Thank you so much for sharing such an insightful one. In 2024, we had a very remarkable Africa International Housing Show. A lot of people participated. It has been on the lips of people since we finished that show in 2024. Now we're moving into 2025. What should we be expecting from AIHS?
For the 2025 Africa International Housing Show, I can show you here, we're going to do more in the area of promoting our locally manufactured
wonderful
building materials. There are a lot of technologies in this country that are not being given attention. We are going to see how we're going to champion on how our people attitude can be changed, and see how we can also collaborate with the Federal Ministry of Housing, because the Federal Ministry of Housing must lead in this area of using locally sourced building materials. I wouldn't even mind if we suggest to them, I wouldn't mind suggesting to them that they should have a particular site that will be called Made in Nigeria Housing Estate.
Yes.
So I am sure a lot of jobs have been done by NIBRI, Nigeria Building and Road Research Institute. Yes. In 2025, we should knock their doors. We should knock their doors. We should call them out to work. They should call them out to tell us or to expose all those research to them, to us. And they have told me before that some of the research they've done, they don't have the law to back them commercializing it. We are going to see how we are going to get a law that will back them to commercialize all their research. Good. Because we cannot continue relying on cement. There must be an alternative to cement. There must be an alternative. There must be an alternative to cement. And then, for all our participants who are coming from abroad, as you know, AIHS is always the place to be for all those people coming from over 18 countries coming. So we are going to work with free trade zone. The Lagos-Lekki Free Trade Zone have been relating with us. Okay. And they are telling us, as for all those people that are coming from outside the country to showcase their building technology, building materials in Nigeria, they are ready to let them have factories in Nigeria. Good. And with that, employment can be created for our people. And with that, a lot of benefits can also come to the country. And they have told us that the government, especially in Lagos State, have confirmed interest to support. So this year, we will have as many from different parts of the world. And I'm telling you, we're going to have a special session for these foreigners.
Good.
On how we can tutor them, tell them what the opportunities we have in Nigeria for them to set up their businesses. We're going to do that. We are going to do. We are going to do that in 2025. As usual, African International Housing always come up in July, and it's going to come up in the last week of July. And I can also inform you, it's going to take place this time around at the International Conference Center. We are going to go back to the International Center. We have started talking with Abuja Investment Company Limited, and they have told us that the place will be delivered to them by end of April. So, and our event is July. So, we are ready for the best of AIHS. This is the 19th edition. I can assure you, as usual, we use it to create opportunities. We use it to network people. We use it to expose new ideas. We are going to do it. And as usual, you know, we have our partners. We have never missed any of those partners in the last few years. And let me also use this opportunity to inform you that in 2025, we are going to have National Urban Forum. National Urban Forum we hold in the first week of June. And we are going to do it in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Housing. The whole idea is, as we promote housing development, we must also see what we can do in the area of urban development. And this is our takeaway from the recently held World Urban Forum. We are waiting for the Federal Ministry of Housing to say they are ready.
Thank you so much for watching Inside the Real Estate on Housing TV Africa. You can watch this episode and subsequent episode by subscribing to our YouTube channel, Housing TV Africa. You can also follow us on all of our social media platforms at Housing TV Africa. Do not forget to download the Housing TV Africa mobile app to stay informed and connected wherever you are in the world. I am Mimuna Bagudu. Happy holidays and thanks for watching.